Hey, I'm just sitting on my bed. It's hot. The fan's there. If I'm recording this downstairs with the actual AC, my mother would be like, "Who are you talking to? How are you?" Apparently, my mom has a thick ass accent like that. The wrong accent. Anyway, so just wanted to. I'm also making a robot armor. Just redoing a costume from a decade ago. If you've been following long enough, you can kind of guess what's next on the docket. So, really, I want to talk about the Fear Street Prom Queen or whatever the fuck that movie is because, like, I didn't know there was gonna be another Fear Street eyebrow missing movie coming out because hey, but then I remember like I feel like you got like a Netflix like push notification or something, and they're like, since you watched the other three and you liked it, here's a new Fear Street. And I was like, alright. And the funniest thing is like, I was like, alright, I'm gonna put it on. So I always, do this thing of like, have the movie, then there's like IMDb tab, I always do that. And then I got my letterbox tab because I'm a fucking, annoying fucking person. And just like immediately, and I try not to like look at the freaking, how do I raise this up? I try not to like look at reviews like, when I'm about to watch a movie, don't want it to like, skew whatever. But just like the top like three most popular fucking reviews was just like no lesbians. Fuck, like everyone was mad because there was no lesbians this time, which I understand when you span through three movies, three different like decades, and really like complete different century with the last one. You're like, hey, you're not gonna give us some gay at least, like and they didn't. This was very heterosexual, which I mean, I guess people who I don't know these people, but I guess people who were mad that Fear Street was homo or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know these people, but like, could you imagine someone out here being like, "Oh man, I really liked your Fear Street movie because like, yeah, totally that felt like the '70s, that felt like the '90s. Somehow I know what it feels like to be was like 1600 or something. Yeah, that's great. But what I couldn't get past was lesbians, But anyway, so I mean, again, it's I I I never read the source of this one. I have some Fear Street books in my basement. They're more like my sister's than mine, you know. Um, because like, of course, I was reading Goosebumps, she was reading Fear Street, that age kind of stuff. And so I'm like, I don't know, like, what the source storyline because this just feels like a generic, like, it's horror and prom, so not completely like Prom Night, the first one with Jamie Lee Curtis, but more like Prom Night 2, was it like Mary Lou or something? This is before, I think, this is around, I mean, that movie was also back in the day. Anyway, not Electric Boogaloo, but you know what I mean. It's like, Mary Lou, hoo hoo ha 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 kind of shit. So, it felt more like that movie, but again, it's like, if it feels like that, we just watch that movie, Like, why are we watching, you know? And it was funny because I saw some people being like, oh my god, this totally felt like the 80s. Not for me. People's hair wasn't big enough. Their hair wasn't fried enough. Definitely not. People definitely had conditioner in their hair. Like, people who had, like, the slightly big kind of curly hair, it was just like, ooh, like, that's conditioned. That's like, you put the time and the work and the diffuser in there, This wasn't, God, I thought my computer blue screened. Because I have, like, a freaking of Twitch open, and it was just like an end slate for something someone's watching, and I was like, I thought, I'm fine. But yeah, like, what was I saying? Words and phrases. What was I saying? Something. Mary Lou who Sue. The hair fried. Hair being fried. Yeah. So like again, it's like people have like the curly hair and stuff like that, but it's not like that '80s like I said. that hair where you like, you touch it, it's dry. You touch it, it's crispy. You touch it, and it's like they did all this. It's not like the curls kind of stuff, like that kind of shit, you know. And this was like tight little coiled up like rat's nest type of shit. Fry hairspray. There was not enough fucking hairspray, you know. And I mean, yeah, like they did that kind of like daytime soap opera kind of filter over it, where it was just like not fully season one of Drag Race filter, but like still like that type of shit. And then whatchamacallit, I did like that when they had like, you know, the school news team da da da, and they like had, you know, very like shot on VHS type of like, you know, thing going on. I don't know if they actually shot it on VHS or if they like put a filter on top of it, but hey, big ups to them if they actually shot it on VHS. But like that like felt more like, you know what I mean, like better, you know what I mean? Like this feels like it's funny because it's like, because obviously like the 80s representation wasn't good, and I'm thinking like, Netflix, you guys did Stranger Things, you know, like you think it's like there's someone on the team or somewhere to be like, cool, we'll just take whatever, you know, because that show technically is done. They just have that final season or whatever, that final whatever half of the season left to air. Like, you just take some of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, people's hair, like Nancy's hair, like the people's hair, like in that show, like felt more like authentic to like the fucked 80s hair, especially like teenagers. You know what I mean? Like, again, y'all had like, your stuff is too cared for. Like I said, there's leave-in conditioner in there. There's, you know, like there's a sheen to the hair, you know? It ain't dry, it ain't, you know, crispy, you know, that kind of shit, you know? So one, that was like my main thing where I was like, this doesn't feel really 80s. It reminded me more like when I was in middle school, like at the end of middle school, when like in the 80s we're kind of like trying to come back. And definitely when I was in high school, like it was like people were trying to do the 80s thing kind of shit. I mean, like so many bands from the 80s had come back. Like Depeche Mode had a huge album, and like The Cure, and fucking Morrissey was existing, you know, sadly. But yeah, like it was like that when like the popular girls were just like, this is my mom's thing from high school. Look, it's like bangles or whatever, and they're like, I'm gonna wear and they like do they were trying to do the layer thing. Do you guys remember that, where it was like the kind of like overpriced not Hanes tank top with the wide shoulder thing? Remember, oh my god, remember the layered look, the dumb like long, like it was like leggings, long undershirt that like covered your butt, and then the short crop shirt. What was that? I don't know. I was always like alt gothy weird, so I was just like, I don't get this. Anyway, back to that movie. So so yeah, like the storyline was just dumb. It was like, was it like fucking 5 to 8 girls or something? They're all running for prom queen. Oh my god, you know. And then the main protagonist girl, like she's running, but like all the girls are in this one friend group, and she's the odd one out kind of stuff. And they're all like me, and kind of. It's like, I don't care. You know, girls in high school were horrible. You know, like I mean boys too, but like god damn, like I don't care, you know, and there's nothing like new about that dynamic of like mean girls in high school, especially like 80s. Again, if I wanted to watch that, there's so many 80s high school horror movies I could like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why did you pick that? I feel like that's why in the first like iteration of the Fear Street movies, they did the 90s, then they did the 70s, and then they went back in fucking time like goddamn Ginger Snaps the beginning kind of shit, you know? Like that was smart to do that, because again, it's like you're so saturated in the 80s because of Stranger Things and all that fucking shit. Like, just make a different fucking decade. You know, they could have went back to the 90s, you know? They could have went back to like early 90s, or like even fuck it, even if they did like Prom like late 90s, do Y2K, because Y2K is fucking, you know, that shit's back, you know, that fucking, you know, Y2K movie or whatever the fuck, that was horrible, you know? But like they could have done that type of prom, everyone wearing like silver like suits and all that stuff, because we were doing like it's the new millennium, it's, space age, and da-da-da, we're gonna have pill form food and blah blah blah. No, we didn't. We, had 9/11, and then we invaded Iraq. Oh fuck. Yeah. Jetsons, they could have done that. That would have been way more interesting than, rehashing 80s I don't know, bitch. I don't fucking know. It was just, and it's and then there was, the killer thing going on, where it was just, picking off, the girls in the friend group, I'm gonna kill each and every one of them, and it's is it that serious? Is it that serious that we need to, kill off the competition like that? And I don't know, I get it. While I was in high school, and while you're in high school, you have this feeling like high school is life, and your teachers try to convince you that, anything you do in school, especially, the 4 years you're in high school, will reflect in the future type of shit. If that were, you know what I mean? No, bitch. No. Ain't nobody at any of the 4,000 jobs I have are hey, did you have good attendance in gym? You know what I mean? Ain't nobody give a fuck about that. God. That's one thing. If I were able to repeat that, I would act out. I would say, I would be the worst person / the best person, because I would let out my anger, but I also probably would have been committed, and there'd probably be a documentary about me, true crime or something. But that's just that's alternate universe me, But so, but yeah, it's so they're picking off the fucking, whoever this killer is in the mask, and it's not even interesting. This bitch loves a fucking mask killer, believe me, alright? Mama loves me some Jason Voorhees. But I was this it doesn't interest me, I don't care. And again, you're picking up, no one cares at fucking high school. No one gives a shit. Who cares? And they're being picked off, and then the oh yeah, and then the main girl, her close friend, is very gay. That was their only way to put in the anything kind of lesbian. It's oh yeah, she's kind of different but kind of boyish. Oh, she's coming to prom in a suit. Girl. Alright, where's the Indigo Girls? Where's the Melissa Etheridge? Play that. She's gonna come to your window. You know what I mean? God damn, girl. Girl, wait a decade. You'll be in your 20s, you'll love Lilith Fair, you know what I mean? You'll be Sarah McLachlan thing, oh my god, it's kind of like Aaron Neville. Alright, I guess. Don't get me going down a weird Aaron Neville freaking, thing. Anyway, so, yeah, so there's that. So, that's the only, kind of gay, queer, element of it. Was just my friend's gay, but it's funny because it was the 80s, so no one was really being that's a little gay. They were just oh yeah, she's wearing a suit. Anyway. Oh, remember that movie that came out in the 80s? What was it, One of the Guys or whatever, where the girl just went passing as a boy just for, I forgot what fucking reason. I forgot. I remember watching that movie, but I forgot what the reason was. And then later was Amanda Bynes was in the She's the Man movie, similar type of thing. I don't know. Those movies are silly. But yeah, so yeah, they start picking them off one by one, and then I forgot how it happened, but the main girl ends up winning prom queen. Oh my god, I would never have guessed. There was also the two I'm gonna call them cult members, that it's kind of the people who really like Regina George, she's so amazing, oh my god, that type of shit. But they were creepy. They were totally oh no, we're gonna be extra weird about it and be you're ruining it. They were the DJ was oh, let me play some different music, because they kept being no, you gotta play, and then the girl goes over and she's oops, I slipped, and I was what, why are y'all like this? I just wonder people in high school who had ridiculous blonde ha, don't get me started. People had ridiculous blind loyalty to whomever the popular person was. It just makes me wonder are now are they like part of like an MLM? You know what I mean? Are they selling? They're trying to sell people like leggings or like cutlery or something like that. Like, did they snap out of it? You know what I mean? When they got to college, if they got to college, you know what I mean? They probably definitely have at least 5 kids. You know that. But it just makes me wonder, like those people, like just like, damn, you really swear loyalty to this dumb bitch. You know, like I don't know. I was always just, a little special. So I remember calling that stuff out and being like, that's kind of weird. Like I don't think she cares about you. She likes the attention, but I don't think she'll care about you. Yeah, you're fat. All right, like I may be fat, but not a cult member. But anyway, so um, yeah, so the main girl ends up winning, thing, and then like, oh, the killer. It's so funny because the killer shows up in the school gym and just kind of like works their way like through the crowd, and like only like halfway through. I think they also had like something. They had a weapon, but like halfway through, the people start going ah, like screaming. I'm like, oh, you didn't think like everyone's in like 80s, like like prom gear, and then there's someone like a black mask and a red hood. You're like, it's kind of that's weird. Like, oh, now I notice something weird. And then they like try to kill her, and then she used the crown and like stabbed them in the eye, and then like it turns out it's like one of the girls' dads, or like the main antagonist's dad, something like that, and it's what's his name, Chris Klein from American Pie, and oh my god, Rollerball. Remember that remake? Rollerball? During the extreme years. So we're skating, we're on the back of a bike, rollerball. God, I watch a lot of bad movies. It was like him. I forgot why, what the reason. It got to the point of the movie where I was just like, I don't care. I don't care the reason why you needed to kill off these girls. Like, you're a grown-ass man. Why are you trying to kill off teenagers? Never mind. Because when I played ice hockey, a father approached me and was so mad that I hit his kid. Mind you, this is ice hockey. You hit people. You check people. Again, I've always been a big bitch. Not everyone develops into a very large cunt, And so, the dad approached me and was just like, oh, you're bullying my daughter, as the person who was heavily bullied as a teenager. I was like, I was doing the bullying. The fuck are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, what if you pretty much like threatened to hit me. And I straight up was like, sir, you're threatening to hit it was like 16 or 17. I'm like, sir, you were threatening to hit a teenager? Sir, I'm only 17, or whatever the fuck I said. And then I think he like realized, he was like, I'm about to hit a kid. You know what I mean? And he still like is, he was that type of dude. He's like, no, I still gotta fight even though I'm wrong. I still gotta hit. Also, I was always strange looking, let's just say. And he's just like, you're different. I have to hurt you. And like fucking, I think the other parents, I don't think his wife was pulling him back. I don't think she was there. But other parents were like, hey, Jim, patting him on the back. Hey, Jim, maybe don't, in front of this crowd, hit this child. You know what I mean? I was ready. I was ready to beat a motherfucker. So, are we surprised? I'm always ready to fight a bitch. But anyway, yeah, so, the Fear Street Prom, it's not good. It's not even like, oh, the other 3 movies, you know what I mean? Like how, like, with the 3, like, some were kind of stronger than the others, but, like, really overall, it kind of, like, they all tied together. It was like, ooh, that's, like, oh, that's pretty cool. This one was just like, it's, like, still in universe, but, like, obviously it's a completely different storyline, which there's nothing wrong with that, but there really wasn't any connection to the previous people, like, you know what I mean? Which, again, it doesn't have to, but it was just kind of like, just shoot. This is me trying to put a shoehorn, not elbow a motherfucker. But, it's like they were just kind of like Netflix was like, what made us money? Let me just try to, well, we don't have Mike Flanagan anymore, so hold on. What do we got? Fear Street, yeah, because we don't have Stranger Things. Stranger Things done. Okay, let's, like they're searching. Prom, everyone loves about prom, I didn't fucking go to prom. You know what I mean? Anyway, so, yeah, it's not good. It's just, I don't know, man. They could have could have had something more fun to it. It did, like, at least so they didn't go grossly member berries or like this stuff in the 80s, but it also didn't feel like the 80s, you know what I mean? It just felt like, like, it felt like what a high schooler thought what the 80s was. You know what I mean? Kind of like, again, like the Y2K movie felt like what someone now feels like what that era was, and it just you know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, shut up. Oh man, Fred Durst. Fucking hell. Um, but yeah, it was not good. I no, not for that. Oh, sir, I don't like it.